on to item 2.6, the baccalaureate degree pilot college application recommendations. Chancellor.
Thank you, President Baum, members of the Board of Governors. This is an historic day in the history of our system, and it's really a pleasure to have with us today Senator Marty Block. Senator Block, thank you for your willingness to attend today. This is the result of the work of Senator Block over not once, not twice, but three efforts, and the culminating one was Senate Bill 850, which he authored and which we are here today to discuss. I want to give you a bit of background, and then I'm going to ask Vice Chancellor Pamela Walker to walk you through our recommendation. I would remind you that the details of this legislation authorize 15 pilot bachelor degree programs up and down the state. Those programs require us to consult with the University of California and the California State University on any potential duplication. Further, the legislation requires that only one of these pilots be able to be offered in any one community college district. And as you know, we have 72 districts, and so those 72 became the pool from which applications were sought. These degrees must be started no later than academic 2017-18, and they certainly require the approval of the Accrediting Commission in each and every case. And the legislation will sunset in 2022-23, and as a part of that, there are two legislative analysts required reviews that would take place, one in 2018 and one in 2022. The enacted legislation is really designed to help the state meet the demand for highly trained workers in high-demand technical fields and disciplines. That's what you'll see when the recommendations are made here in a moment. Today we're seeking your initial approval of these programs, and following this meeting, depending on your approval, we would then meet individually with each of the successful colleges and complete the review process and consultation process with the University of California and the California State University, and then bring these back for your final approval in March. With that, I'm going to ask Dr. Walker to walk you through the process we used and tell you who the successful colleges were, and then I'll take it back from Pam and give you a footnote and make a recommendation. Dr. Walker?
Thank you. President Baum, board members, Chancellor Harris, colleagues, I'd like to offer the significance of the time we've spent in the last 112 days. On September 28th, Governor Brown signed SB 850, and on October 16th, a draft application, scoring rubric, and proposed implementation timeline was presented to the Consultation Council. On October 22nd, a certification of interest was sent to all colleges, and over 35 colleges submitted an interest. Within 30 days, the Chancellor's Office Academic Affairs staff, in accordance with legislation and working with legal counsel, developed the final implementation timeline, application to participate, and the scoring rubric. The baccalaureate degree pilot program application to participate was released on November 21st, 2014. We then hosted an application webinar on December 2nd, 2014 to give everyone information to apply for the application. As a result of the application webinar, FAQs were posted to the Chancellor's Office Academic Affairs website to ensure all questions were addressed. December 9th, a week later, we solicited for readers. Verbal request at the intersegmental curriculum workshop meeting that included from CSU and UC. A solicitation memo was sent to all chief instruction officers, chief student services officers, and the executive council of our faculty senate, recruiting readers. We also invited members from the California Department of Education, colleagues, and in the workforce. In total, we reached out to at least 250 individuals, knowing that this was a winter break. We conducted a readers webinar on December 17th for all solicited readers. Readers that were confirmed were required to send a signed conflict of interest form, And by December 19th, we had a deadline for applications to participate. We received 34 applications from colleges. We're very impressed with the overall applications. In less than 30 days, the applicants were required to articulate a description of their pilot program, evaluate student interest and community support, research labor market and labor demand, have conversations with CSU and UCs to demonstrate collaboration, research on assist and other sources to avoid duplications of UC and CSU majors, illustrate upper division coursework, and identify fiscal administrative resources to demonstrate college capacities. I need to say that our colleges work very hard in a short amount of time, and the quality of each of these colleges' applications were quite impressive and significant. Our holiday gift to our readers was sending them the scoring rubrics and 3 or 4 applications for review with a deadline of January 7th, 2015. So everybody worked over the holiday. Each application was read at least 4 times. Thus, these applications received over 200 hours of review. All applications were ranked per the scores received from the readers. The ranking of the 15 selected colleges included the return scores and also included a geographic distribution, diversity of pilot programs, and potential duplications with CSU and UCs. With today's initial approval, staff will work with the 15 selected colleges to emphasize the labor market need, collaborate with UC and CSU, and develop the structure that will lead us into the implementation phase of these new baccalaureate degree pilot programs. Chancellor?
Thanks, Pam. Again, I want to underscore the difficulty in selecting these successful institutions. We really did get 34 tremendously done proposals. I want to thank the readers and specifically the Academic Senate that aided us in this really tedious process of trying to decide which of these programs should be recommended to the board. Just for your information, the next item on your agenda, which is also required by the legislation, is the detail of the funding mechanism, so you'll see that in a little while. And I would remind the board that you are today initially approving these, and that we will do a lot of work between now and March, including, I've already had one request to develop a matrix showing all of those labor market needs by specific program, and so we'll certainly come back to the board with that as well. And with that, it is my sincere recommendation that the board initially approve these 15 pilot programs.
Because we want to get the language right, I want to entertain a specific motion.
Yeah, I'd like to move that the board initially approve the list of pilot bachelor degree programs pending individual meetings with successful colleges and the completion of the consultation process with the University of California and the California State University, and that the Chancellor bring the list of programs back to the board for final approval in March.
Second.
The motion has been made by Member Baca and seconded by Member Belansky. And Ms. Gilmer will make sure you get that wording. And so I have one member of the public that seeks to address the board, and then we'll have some board deliberation and questions, and then see if we're ready to take action. First comment is Lynette Niaga.
Thank you. Board of Governors and Senator Block. We worked with Senator Block on this bill, and we know that he is very concerned about the role of faculty in these programs. But I just wanted to say for you and for others that we do ask that faculty be the guiding force in the development of these programs so that we can be sure that they reflect good pedagogy and successful strategies for teaching. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you may have one more coming.
David, are you planning to address this issue? Go ahead and you can fill the card out.
Thank you, President Baum. Members, David Morse, President of the Academic Senate. As all of you know, as Senator Block knows, the Academic Senate had expressed some concerns originally with the creation of the pilot, but we do want to, at this time, express our willingness and eagerness to work with the Chancellor's Office, with Senator Block, with the pilot colleges in order to make this project as successful as it can be and to ensure the quality of the degrees. I've been in conversations with Vice Chancellor Walker regularly. We participated in the reading of the applications, and so we have been involved. We've talked with Chancellor Walker about ensuring that the Academic Senate will be involved with the process and ensuring, once again, the quality and the standards of the degrees, and we look forward to continuing in that process. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I will go to the board for questions, comments, deliberations. Member Izumi.
I just want to thank Vice Chancellor Walker and the staff, all the readers, all of those who were involved in the process, and certainly foremost Senator Block for being the author of this important legislation. I just wanted to taking a quick look over the list of programs. Just want to commend the selection of these programs because they seem to have geographic and subject matter diversity that allows us to, as a pilot, to be able to find out how things work, both in different areas of the state but also different types of disciplines. And so I think that we're going to learn a lot from all of this. I think that this is, as Chancellor Harris said, a historic moment for the state of California. And I think that the community colleges will be up to this task. And I think that the people of California are going to see a great dividend at the end of this process. So again, I thank all of those involved. And I want to say that I certainly hear what the faculty representatives, the Academic Senate representatives say. I hope that, as Lynette mentions, that the faculty will have a very important role to play in this process.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Member Baca.
Yeah, Senator Block, Chancellor Carroll, for your advocacy. Thank you very much for your work on this, and of course all others who've been involved in it. Just to reemphasize here the importance of the faculty role in this. It is historic. It is also very diverse in terms of the disciplines. So the engagement between and the communication between the faculty at the CSU in particular, with the CSU in particular, by community college faculty is key to making this work, as it's been with other efforts, SB 1440 and so many other areas. I don't expect this to be a completely smooth transition, and we'll have bumps along the way, but in order to minimize those, I think the involvement, particularly of the discipline faculty in these areas, is key to the success of it. So just a point that I wanted to reemphasize.
Thank you, Member Baca. Member Sumner.
I just want to know, I know this was probably very hard for some faculty and for some districts because they wanted them all in their backyard, because I know when we recently had our off-site, the automotive was there, the dental was there, and everything, and I know that was a hard decision. So having the involvement of the community along with the faculty is really huge in this. So I'm honored to be a part of this, and I know it changed a little bit way back when it was first initiated with the whole nursing program, but when I look at this makes a lot of sense in what they're doing to giving back to the community, so I'm proud to be a part of this.
Member Epstein.
Yeah, I also want to applaud the process. I think it's rare that something this important gets done this quickly by government, and it's very very worthy of accolades. The question I had was, you said there were over 30 applicants, and we're only seeing the ones that were selected. Is there an opportunity to kind of get a sense of what the other applicants proposed, and not going through each one, but just in broad terms, how these rose to the top?
Absolutely. We'll provide the board with a complete list of all 34 institutions and proposed degrees. Pam, you may,
We can get those done.
We'll get that for you by tomorrow morning.
Before
How's
you
that?
leave.
Yeah, good.
And just in general, how these rose to the top, I mean, was there, is there a way to describe it in broad terms without getting into specific
Yes, absolutely. I think there are two key things that made the selection of this group over the other applications. First and foremost was certainly the quality of the application and the labor market demand and demonstrated proof of that, and the capacity of the institutions by nature of the application to actually deliver on the program. And then the other thing, and we told the institutions this right up front, was that even after the quality of the applications was reviewed in the programs, that it's very important in implementing these pilot projects that we were sensitive to the geographic distribution of the programs, the institutional distribution of the programs, so that they weren't all, for example, located in rural areas or all in urban areas, and the programmatic diversity of the programs. So even after the applications were scored, there was a consideration for those variables, and the institutions were told that right up front.
Member Avalos?
Yeah, thank you. So I again also want to applaud the work that's been done. Obviously, it's been a monumental task in a short amount of time, so I really appreciate that. Like Member Epstein, I also have the same questions around, criteria, right? I mean, for me, I would have liked to maybe seen what kind of criteria we're actually approaching this with up front, rather than just dropping it on us right now. Just because I don't have the visibility. I think the Chancellor did mention, the criteria by which we used it, which is great. But I just feel like, the board could have been a little more immersed in the criteria, maybe in what the selection process could have been. I also echo Member Epstein's comments around trying to see the other applicants that, were evaluated. And then finally, I think the big piece for me is obviously labor markets and really, what's the impact, right? How many students do we have actually in these courses? Will they be filled completely? Are they impacted courses? Things like that. And I don't know if that was part of the criteria or not, but I think that was something that's pretty important to think about, or hopefully was thought about. Thank you.
Member Belinsky.
I'll echo some of the comments already, but just so that, that we're all speaking and adding to the dialogue and to the conversation. I do think it will be helpful to get labor market information, just to be clearer, so that if we're even being asked questions or, how did you move forward with this as a board, it will be able to say, yes, there is a tremendous need, labor market need in these areas, and there aren't enough with a cheap tuition to provide this kind of education, and often students are being moved to private schools with very high tuitions and then incredible costs that they have to deal with when they get their first job. And just to again acknowledge, I think it's great that it's gone through various geographic areas and it's not limited to one area of the state or two areas. I also think it's impressive how many of these outright state that they will lead to the student being able to take a licensure exam or a certification exam, because we know that in many instances that increases the kind of a job the student can get, and therefore the kind of employment, and money and the rest of it, and career development from that. The only other thing that I've mentioned, and it would be interesting to see how they wrote this in, if that's even possible, is the issue of the upper division GE. And I mentioned this already to Pam. And the only other one that as we move ahead, I'd like to know more about, because I'm not getting like what the actual jobs will be, is the one industrial automation. I get this high-level concept of, engineering and new products and new systems and applied design. But I can't really get, and it would be nice to have that just conceptually to know what kind of jobs ultimately does that lead to, and in what kind of industries.
We'll do that.
I have a comment. I want to also echo the comments that Member Epstein and Member Avalos made in the role of the Board of Governors in this. And nothing I want to say indicates anything less than admiration for the system, for really moving this forward, and our partnership with Senator Block and the unanimous support from the California State Legislature, who sees the value in this innovative new program that can actually serve the workforce and tens of thousands of students in the state. And to have turned that around in 60 days to be able to bring to us 15 proposed programs is nothing short of miraculous. And also, we're thrilled to have that opportunity. I'm glad that we also, though, have framed the motion in that this is an initial approval subject to a final approval at our subsequent board meeting, to allow for any additional review or collaboration, consultation that takes place. Because I am sincere when I want to make sure we are consulting with integrity with our colleagues in the California State University system and the University of California system. I don't want us to cede our authority in moving forward on any of these. This is our responsibility to do so. But I want to be open-minded if information comes forth that makes us reconsider one of these programs or adjust one of these programs because there might be some overlap or duplication or something like that. I don't want to just move in one direction without having an open ear to the field and to our partner, our other sectors of public education. The last thing is also I'm going to be looking forward to hearing from the Chancellor's Office to ensure that the adoption of these degree programs are well thought out within the individual institutions, that it doesn't distract from the core mission of the community college. We're trustee, I know all too well that the minute we approve or even provide initial approval for some of these degrees, the press releases are going to go out on those home campuses. They're going to say, woohoo, we're going to be the first in the state to offer a bachelor's in mortuary science, and everybody's got to gear up, and we're going to use all of our institutional energy and focus to celebrate this remarkable achievement. And I don't want that to distract from our core mission of transfer basic skills and workforce development. I think it complements our workforce development procedures. And so I'm looking forward to, when we come back in March, hearing how well that consultation went with the other sectors, and that how we have real confidence in these local districts to make sure that it doesn't distract from what their core focus should be. Member Izumi.
And just one follow-up comment is that given the questions that a number of board members have about impact and outcome issues, I mean, I wonder if, as time passes, that some of these questions could be relayed to the Legislative Analyst's Office, for example, for their interim reports, so that it could at least inform them as to, some of the things that they might want to, look at, as they're researching how these particular programs are progressing.
A question from Vice President Estolano.
Hi, good morning. Sorry I'm a little bit delayed. I can blame the fog. I just had a question about, there seem to be kind of two duplications on the dental hygiene and then also the information, health information management, and I think they were supposed to be all distinct. Could you maybe just describe that? And the descriptions are different, clearly, but just want to understand how we're doing two sets of seemingly related or very, very similar degrees.
So one of the things we realized that in looking at these particular programs, that many of the students in this state are local bound.
Right.
So someone who may be able to take a dental hygiene program in West LA may not be able to come to Northern California or vice versa. So we looked at some programs that had significant labor market statistics in their proposals, and determined that these two programs would serve enough students that we could have programs on both sides of the state. Once again, we looked at how so many of our students are local bound, and so that that may be one of the reasons that they aren't able to go onward to some of our four-year college sisters, because they can't go back and forth across the state. So that's how we looked at some of that, looking at their labor market statistics.
And Vice Chancellor Walker, I mean, I read the legislation, so it's sufficiently ambiguous. It wasn't really clear about how it was supposed to be not offered anywhere else. So I think using that regional approach is really much more appropriate, because people really are bound to regions. It's our whole approach on workforce and education and training anyway. So I just wanted to get that out on the record, since there's at least two programs that seem to almost be duplicative, though slightly different.
Hopefully they'll work together as well and try to make sure that we're doing everything we can.
Right, thank you.
Member Van Loon.
Yes, first and foremost, I'd like to second the concerns voiced by the two gentlemen beside me in regard to board involvement as we move forward. And secondly, I think throughout this whole process, it's resembled an exemplification of not only the dedication, but the malleability of our system in responding to economic shifts, so we can provide our students with true opportunities to get into the workforce and make an impact. All too often, degrees aren't associated with jobs anymore, and it's nice to see that we are truly concerned with that, and we're moving forward in every step and every development to ensure that there are jobs for our students as they expend the resources and money to graduate.
Okay, seeing no further comment or discussion, this is of such magnitude, I think it calls for a roll call vote.
I do got a
Yeah,
comment.
go
So
ahead,
can you
before
just
we go to
remind
vote.
us? Can you just remind us what we're voting on again?
Yeah, Member Baca, will you read the motion again? I'm glad.
Okay, it's moved that the board initially approve the list of pilot bachelor degree programs pending individual meetings with the successful colleges and completion of the consultation process with the University of California and the California State University, and that the chancellor bring the list of programs back to the board for final approval in March.
This is the degree programs as presented.
Arnaldo Avalos,
Yes.
Manuel Baca,
Aye.
Jeffrey Baum,
Aye.
Joseph Blansky Jr.,
Aye.
Thomas Epstein,
Abstain.
Cecilia Estelano,
Aye.
Danny Hawkins,
Aye.
Lance Izumi,
Aye.
Actually, do you want to change my vote to abstain? This is Arnaldo.
Gary Reed,
Aye.
Nancy Sumner,
Aye.
Colin Van Loon,
Aye.
So that, I think, is 9 votes in favor, none opposed, and 2 abstentions. The motion carries, and we're on our way to offering bachelor's degrees. Chancellor, I understand we have some special recognition to offer.
We do, and I'd like to ask Senator Block and San Diego Chancellor Constance Carroll to please come forward. The board does have an acknowledgement of your tremendous work. As we have said, this is a significant day for California's community colleges, and Senator Block, as I mentioned earlier, drove this from a legislative point of view, and then Constance Carroll, the Chancellor of the San Diego District, drove it from our stakeholders internally. And so it really is a pleasure on behalf of the Board of Governors to acknowledge their service, and I'd like to read this to you. It says, to Constance Carroll for her distinguished leadership in the passage of Senate Bill 850 block, authorizing the community college bachelor's degree, and the one for the senator reads, in grateful appreciation of Senator Marty Block for his distinguished leadership in the passage of Senate Bill 850 block, affording the community college bachelor's degree presented by the Board of Governors. Please join me in congratulating both these folks.
I just want to thank the Chancellor and thank the Board of Governors. As was said, rarely in government do we see anything so important happen so quickly. But important to note, quickly but with careful, very careful consideration. And that's really the challenge here, was to do it quickly and also do it very carefully. And And I want to thank faculty members who spoke. Faculty are, of course, critical to everything we do in our higher education system and will play an integral role in the bachelor's degree program. Thank you all. For those who abstained, I'm sure that just a couple of abstentions, I'm sure you'll be more than satisfied as this program unrolls that this is going to be a game changer. It will frankly change the face of higher education in California forever. Not just higher education, but the face of our workforce and the face of California's economy. This will mean so much to the future Californian. Constance Carroll and Chancellor Harris have played such an important role in getting this done. And my staffer, Kevin Powers, guided this every step of the way. And thank you, Kevin, for everything you've done to get this to be a unanimous vote out of both the Assembly and the Senate after 2 failed attempts. It just demonstrates the work that was done and how we agree now the time has come. So, Chancellor Carroll, any comments?
Yes, so first of all, I'd like to really commend you, Senator Block, for your tremendous leadership. This is a game changer, and it's wonderful to see California join the 21 other states that already have this option for their community colleges. The one thing that's important to note is that this is about jobs. It's about preparing students for a workforce, the requirements for which have changed. So for students who now face jobs that require a bachelor's degree, in these 15 programs will now have a competitive opportunity, which they did not have before. So I commend you also, Chancellor Harris, and members of the Board of Governors for making what truly is a historic decision.
I just want to say before us are 2 of the most important leaders over the past decade in the state for the community college system. Chancellor Carroll probably doesn't remember, but when I was first elected as a local trustee more than a dozen years ago, you were at the front lines fighting on the equalization battle, and we all look to you for your leadership and as a role model for what can be done in creating a vision for community colleges. And Senator Block, who was a community college trustee himself before, has always been in our corner as he's risen through the state legislature. So we're very fortunate to have individuals like this leading as leaders in our system, and I don't think there's anybody who's been more impactful than either of you, and we're about to embark on a very exciting future that's going to be a real great returns for our students and our employers. So thank you so much.